else will break your heart. I'm never gonna hold you back. I'm always gonna have your back. So try to remember that. I hope you're happy. I hope you're good. I hope you get what you wish for.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to 321 No Kiddin. Bobby the Awesome here. And I just got some stuff on my mind, some relationship stuff that I want to chat about. And I guess because I've learned and grew a little in the last 24 hours, I kind of want to share the evolution that's been happening. So I've been in a complicated relationship, to say the least, and it started as friends, and then we weren't friends for a long time, and we had to go back to being friends. And through my recovery, I've learned a lot about myself, and it's funny because I just heard on TikTok, somebody was talking about friends are either engines, buoys, or something else, and the engines are the ones that keep friends moving, and the buoys don't really do anything. Oh, the other one is anchor, people that weigh you down. So there's different points that this person's been an anchor, a buoy, and an engine, and that makes it really hard when there's not clear lines. But through my recovery, this is what I wanted to share with you. I'm learning how to communicate and take lessons and apply them to make something better. So here's what I mean. When I get pissed off at someone, I tend to withdraw. I don't want to talk about it in the moment. I know that I have my own little mental process where I can think about it. I can usually talk myself out of being pissed off, which is usually the goal. But I'm evolving into where I don't want to be pissed off. I mean, yes, I still decide whether or not it's rational, but now I'm learning how to communicate through it, through whatever the thoughts were, through whatever upset me in the first place. So the last time that this happened, and I watched Brene Brown. She has a special on Netflix. And one of the most powerful things, and I'll probably talk about this more than once, one of the most powerful things I got from watching her talk was this concept of telling myself stories. Or, we tell ourselves stories in our head. So maybe somebody doesn't talk to us at a party, and the story we're saying is, oh, they don't like us, or I wasn't dressed right, or I'm not one of the cool kids, or whatever the story may be. Or maybe it's in a relationship, he's not answering the phone, or she's not answering the phone when you think they should. So either the story you tell them is something bad has happened, maybe they're, you're imagining and catastrophizing that they're in a car wreck, or that they're with another person, or whatever. These are all just stories in our heads. And I'm really learning to take notice of when I'm telling myself a story. And that tends to be when I get upset with people, is I make up the dialogue or my own interpretation and tell my own story in my head. So I'm learning how to take notice that I'm actually doing that, and then correct my behavior. And one of my favorites, and of course, I think I shared with you on the last show, is that I'm like snapping out of a 2-month funk here. So my bad behaviors have definitely snuck back in. And one of my bad behaviors, or coping mechanisms, whatever you want to call it, is being passive aggressive. So the situation is, or was, that something came up in a conversation last night, and it hit me, like I felt like I got punched in the gut. And it was because of the story I was telling in my head. And I couldn't even get myself together to dig deeper, ask the questions, because I knew I wasn't going to be receptive to hear it, because I was already in this like defensive, pissy mode. So I excused myself from the conversation. And the way it used to work in this friendship was, if I tried to run away from the conversation, I usually pissed off the other person. It would create bigger drama, not as beneficial conversations, whether we talked in the moment or the next day. And this could be applied to any relationship. This doesn't have to be romantic. It could be friend related. It could be whatever. So in the past, like I said, it would escalate. And through the course of our friendship, I've said, listen, if I'm in a place where I say, hey, I need some time to process this, I need you to respect that. I need my time to chill out. I'll come back. I'll talk to you about it when the timing works, when I can do it in a polite way. Because one of the things I don't like is being passive aggressive or sarcastic. Like if I'm pissy about something, but I don't have all the facts, why am I taking it out on the other person through sarcasm and passive aggressiveness? So the last time that this happened, and it was a while ago, like I said, we evolved into, okay, I need my space, and then getting my space. The other thing that was different now that this happened again, like I said, I was given my space. And even though we hadn't talked or, had the talk around whatever it was that was bothering me, instead of having those passive aggressive or those snippety or short text, I know you know what I mean, right? When we have an attitude, we text different than when we're happy. I know there's a lot of things that get lost in translation in text, but when we're in a bad mood, usually the receiver knows it. So that was another step I added to this equation, was to not be pissy in my text, whether the situation was resolved or not. And this was a big growing for me today. Not just the not being pissy or being a jerk, but taking notice of my behavior in the past, my behavior in the present, and the steps of the evolution within this relationship. I mean, I'd like to think that it will, fast forward X amount of time, get to where I learn to ask those questions in the conversation and shut the story off right in the moment, or get clarification and not need that processing time, and go into it knowing that the other person is going to speak their truth. Otherwise, what's the point of being in a relationship if it's not going to be healthy? And if you care about people, and this is something that really sticks with me, and I don't know why it's showing up for this conversation. If you care about people, why is it the ones that we care about the most are we the not nicest to? We might be sarcastic, or we might take our anger. If we have a bad day at work, you go home to your significant other and we treat them like a punching bag in unhealthy relationships, right? Like, they didn't do anything to deserve that other than love us and be close to us. But because of the proximity, that's usually what happens. And I'm not saying it happens to everyone or every time, and I'm not saying it happens only in addiction or that everybody that's in recovery figures this out. I'm still learning how to navigate communication and relationship. Now that I'm staying at my mother's house, I have to be mindful of my communication with her, right? Like, she's a sensitive person, and I know what hits nerves for her, so I wouldn't deliberately try to hurt her or strike up nerves or make her cry or whatever. And it could be her, my brother, anybody. I just don't go looking for trouble anymore. But I have to be mindful of my own thoughts and my own behaviors. So I guess that's kind of what I wanted to chat with you about today. I think I would challenge you to, be reflective if you're having one of those difficult conversations, or you're having some sort of feelings that you need to work through. And maybe the old go-to was an argument. How about not making it an argument? Maybe it is finding your voice and telling the person that you need to step away. Now, I don't suggest telling them in the heat of the moment. I mean, if that's what it comes to. But maybe after the next argument, you say, hey, I think I could have done better with some time to mull this over or to collect my thoughts, so that we talk about we can't take the words back once they leave our mouths. So I don't want to have regrets. I don't want to treat people that I love and care about in a shitty way and not be able to take it back. So that's what I would challenge everybody to do, is take a look at their communication. Are you being passive aggressive? Are you being sarcastic? Are you being loving? Are you being kind? Like, what does that look like? I guess first you have to decide what you want that to look like. But as I talk about and think about, where was it? There was something in the last day or two about making choices about the people that we have in our lives. And if they don't serve us in a way that makes us happy, that's reciprocal, that it's give and take, and it's a balanced, or at least attempt to be balanced relationship. And again, there's friendships that are unbalanced. And I apologize for my yawning. I did just stop for coffee. I'm driving back from Tennessee as I record this, I'm driving back from Miami as I record this, but I'm going through Tennessee right now. And I owe you guys a lot of shows, so I'm trying to be a good girl and get caught up. And this was just weighing on my mind because I feel like I grew a little today by starting to develop new habits. And I even said, I was like, well, I didn't want to make the morning uncomfortable by not texting in a kind way this morning. I didn't want to be a jerk. So we're breaking the patterns, and then the friendship can grow or evolve or do whatever from there, as long as we're both all in. And man, communicating honestly is one of those things. It's so uncomfortable. I get this icky feeling in my gut, and I stutter when I have to say something that I'm not happy about saying. And I'll tell you, even though in the heat of the moment it's difficult and uncomfortable, every time I have one of those hard conversations, at least this has been my experience, I'll have a hard conversation. Me and whoever the conversation with are usually better for it on the other side when we have to talk about these things. So I encourage you to communicate, pay attention to your communication. I guess that would start with knowing your feelings first. And if you haven't watched that Brene Brown thing on Netflix, definitely watch it. Just put Brene Brown. It's about an hour. I've watched it multiple times. So many lessons in it. And I hope you enjoy it. All right, beautiful people. Thanks so much for being here. And I will talk to you soon.
Try to remember